All right, guys, we're back for our final segment of Inside Bodybuilding. Hope you guys are enjoying it. And we have a very cool guest. He's Venice, California's own by way of Quebec, Canada. I'm talking about MadMax, Dave Bourlet. Dave, welcome to the show.
Thanks, you guys. Thanks for having me.
Dave, you're pretty legendary on the forums. Before we sort of dig into where you got started on the forums, posting sort of the life in Venice and all that, how did you make the jump? Where did you decide to go to Venice, California from, sort of tell us where you're from and when that even entered your life as a possibility?
Actually, very few people know this, but I was actually born in France. When I was 3 years old, my parents decided to move to Montreal, Canada, because that was the only place where they actually spoke French, part of the country, because most of Canada is English, of course. So I was raised in Montreal, or a little city next to Montreal called Laval, actually, right across the bridge. And I remember when I first started working out around 16, 17, 18 years old, I remember being stuck in my little city and just really liking bodybuilding and just getting into it and reading all the magazines, of course. But I just always wondered what's going on in Venice, and I always, was attracted to California. I remember watching Chips on the TV and all the movies with kids going to school all year long outside, and it was so, nice all the time, the weather. So I've always been sort of attracted to California, and I told myself as soon as I get the chance, I got to go check it out, and I would love to live there. But of course, a lot of people feel that way, would like to do that. So of course, all my friends told me, you're crazy. Everybody wants to move there and live in the sun all day, and you're nuts. That's kind of the mentality over there. Everybody kind of just says there's very few dreamer, and whenever you do dream, people try to put it down because, I don't know, they don't want you to go. I don't know what it is. So it took me until I was about, I think 18 years old, where my dad said, let's go for 10 days on vacation. So I went and came to visit here for 10 days with my dad and my girlfriend at the time. And because, realistically, if you like a place, you can't just watch the movies and think that's the way it's going to be like in the movies to live. You have to be realistic, and you actually have to go check out for yourself. So we came, stayed 10 days, and we're so depressed when we left because it was not only as good as in the movie, but even better to me. I was like, that's it. That's where I have to go. And it literally took me a year and a half to find a way to save enough money to finally be able to leave. And it's funny because I always seem to be getting roadblock over there. Every time we'd be saving a little bit of money, something would happen. My car would break down, my engine or something. So little money I would have would just go to whatever would happen to me at the time. And I was so negative and depressed all the time. I didn't want to live there. I couldn't deal with the winter and the people's mentality and everything I remember. So I ended up selling my little MR2 that I had, which was a really nice little car, first nice car I had with T-top. I sold that. I bought a junker Monte Carlo, like an old car, a boat. And I remember I did the move. I packed up my car, my clothes, and I had no spare tire in the trunk. And I sold everything I had, and what I had left was basically, with the change at the time, I think $450 US to make the trip and start my life over here. And by the time I arrived to California, after gas and food and hotel expenses, I had like $150 left with no green card, no place to go, no friends, that's what I was starting my life with. And I remember in the first years I was here, because I didn't know where to go, so the first place I actually went was Huntington Beach at the Powerhouse on Main Street, a block away from the ocean. In the first 30 days, that's where I spent them. We went to the gym, work out, spent the rest of the day on the beach, and did that for 30 days.
Where'd you sleep? You sleep in your car?
The girlfriend who actually came on vacation with us the first time for 10 days had beat me to the punch and actually had moved here prior to me. So she actually helped me out. She said, hey, I got a place. Come. She was trying this whole time. Please come. It's great. We weren't together anymore, but we're still good friends. So she was like, you got to really come. It's great here. So she helped us a lot at the beginning. She helped me, but I moved a lot because I didn't really know where to go at first. You don't really know where you'll be able to earn any money or just do anything. You can't, I was starting from scratch. So I moved 11 times in that first 12 months. I had no clue. I just knew I wanted to be here. And all I knew was like, I'm never going to go home. I'm never going to call my parents to ask them for money to go back. No matter what, I have to be able to make it here. And that's how I started. That's what happened in 1993. That was.
Wow. Sounds like that vacation had an impact on everyone if she moved there too, right?
Who?
I said it sounds like that vacation had a pretty big impact on everyone who went if your girlfriend or ex-girlfriend moved there too, right?
Yeah, just and I don't even know if she still lives here or not because we kind of lost touch and everything. But thank God she was here because she told me, oh, there's this place called Trader Joe. They have some cheap food and it's nice. Like she already knew the lay of the land, so she couldn't have point me in the right direction and help me out a little bit for that. But I was lucky early on to actually meet some people that were really good to me and helpful, and so I try today to always kind of pay it forward, and people that are just getting started to help the way I was helped when I first started, because I know how hard it is. The first year.
How are you making money? What'd you do?
You know what? The first, of course, I wasn't legal here. But because I was coming from Canada, it's a lot. The laws back then were a lot less strict, especially for Canadian. I mean, I remember the way I crossed at the time was like I crossed the border at Burlington and I told them I'm going to shop in the United States, and I just never came back because they used to it. The Canadian at the border, they say, "Oh, we're going to go shop," and we'll come back, and so that's what I did, and they never questioned anything. So I drove my car, and then I never came back. But people from Europe, it's different. They get the visa stamp. They don't even stamp our passport back then, So that's what I did. So of course I couldn't work legally at the time. But what happened after a little bit is that I found I found not a Chippendale troop, but something along those lines.
I knew there was gay for pay coming up here.
No gay for pay. But they basically said, listen, we do is we go on tour. My girlfriend, my girlfriend at the time, which was almost a pro bodybuilder, Colette Guimond, I don't know if you guys have heard of her. She also came with me, and of course with her it was a lot. She helped a lot also because she was always traveling all over the world, and she was actually making money. So she really helped me out a lot financially at the beginning. But what was I going to say? Is I found this company. Basically, because I used to strip when I first started bodybuilding back in Canada, in the club. It's not really stripping, though. It's kind of like the male review or whatever, So I said I could do that, So they never asked for any visa or anything like that. They just said, okay, well, what we do is we go on tour around the States, and we drive maybe 4 or 5 guys in the car, and we just have this review. And there was actually like costume and choreography. It wasn't just like stripping like a strip club. They actually had some shows they were doing and all that stuff. So I did that. They liked the fact that I spoke French, and it was kind of like my shtick. And so he says, with tip and everything, you can easily make $1,000 a week. So I would go on tour for like a week or two, and come back and not work on them, and then go back on tour, and I would keep doing that at the beginning. That's how I survived.
So what was your first break then? Like outside of that though, what was like the first break where you knew you actually had like roots down in LA?
Well, what happened after a while is that I remember when I was working when I was doing those shows and stuff, I was working with guys, and I was in my early 20s at the time, which was fine, but I knew some guys that were working with us. They were like in their late 30s, early 40s, and I remember looking at those guys like, they were nice. Like, man, I don't want to do this until I'm 40. This is not a life. It's fun for now, but I can't be on the road all the time and have a family. So I just didn't want to. I knew I didn't want to do that. So eventually, I met my wife, which I got married in the 1990. I think I got married in 1997, 1998. And she actually came to a couple of my shows, and which was kind of weird. But after a while, that didn't feel right going back on tour. I wasn't married to her. We were just dating, and I just didn't feel right doing that kind of job. And so I quit. And I was so again, she kind of stepped up to the plate and took care of me and helped me out financially, and I drove her car. And so I did that for about a year and a half without any jobs. So after a while, she said, listen, I really care for you, and I would, I would want to, build something in the future with you, but I can't have you not work. You gotta work, so, which is totally understandable. So I would tell her, listen, I want to work. I want to get, so we got married, of course, with the promise of me getting a job. And so, but I would tell her, I really want to get a job, but I don't want to get a job just to get a job. And I remember at the time I was looking for jobs like carpet installer or carpet cleaner or even attendant at I almost got that one at arcade place, things like that. She said, that's not serious. What am I going to tell people? You give kids change in an arcade? No, you got to find a real job. And as I was telling her, I just need to find the right job. I just need to find a job that really means something to me. And I've always loved bodybuilding. I've always loved, and it's important to say around that time, I wasn't even training. When I got married to her, I sort of adopted her lifestyle and became fat. And for 2 years, did not train, did not go to the gym, nothing. I kind of just became like her. And she wasn't in the industry at all. She was like a normal, quote-unquote, person, which I really liked because my ex-girlfriend before was completely like full-blown, full-tilt competing on the time at the highest level. She always was a pro. And it was kind of too much, so I went the total opposite with someone who's completely flying to bodybuilding. But the problem is that either you stick to the way you are or you become like that person, and I became like her. So, of course, I wasn't too much to look at after 2 years like that. But I still knew I liked bodybuilding. I liked that industry, so I wanted to go back to it. So I remember I was hanging out to her. She used to work at a doctor's office for a cardiologist at the time. And the guy fired me like 2-3 times because he was like, why is your husband always here? Get out of here. He's always here. I was hanging out with her all day. So I would read to the newspaper, to the one ad, and I was like, I'm just looking for the right job. But it sounds like a BS excuse after a while if you never get a job, But one day I looked in the newspaper, and it said that they wanted something for retail sell, and usually it would never say for what company or what. It was just general, sales and retail or need knowledge or something like that. But this time it had said Max Muscle is looking for employee for retail selling. When I saw Max Muscle, I'm like, that's what I want to do. I knew them from their clothing line at the time, which they were very, very popular back in the late, the 90s. So I said, that's who I want to work for. So I called. I bugged the poor person on the phone until she said, listen, stop calling. I'm going to call you back. I'll give you an appointment. And I went. I met with her, and it was to be the manager of a little store in San Dimas, an actual manager. I went straight up to manager for $7 an hour, I remember at the time.
Wow.
And I had to go meet with the CEO, Joe Wells, which I became very good friends to till this day. And I met with him, and he was late. I remember an hour late. And then I was barely speaking English at the time. That's another thing, too, because when I moved here, my English was very, very minimal. I mean, all I knew was what I learned in school, and that's it. So I pretty much learned English, how to speak it at the very least, just watching movies. I would go to the matinees when it was like $3 at the time, and I would hop from one screen to the next, and I would watch 4 or 5 movies a day. And at first, I could only pick up maybe 20%, then 30%, 40% until I could understand everything. That's how I learned English here. So I went to go meet him, but I was still not great at my English. So I don't know why he gave me a shot, because I didn't even know they had supplements back then. He's asking me what's in the Max for. I'm like, what's a Max for? I don't even know what that is. I knew they had clothing. It was cool clothing. I wanted to sell it. So he took a chance on me. He was paying me $7 an hour, so he didn't have much to lose. He was probably going to fire me if I wasn't any good. But it's funny because lately, when I see him, one day I asked him, I said, "What did you hire me? Why did you think I was going to be any good?" He says, you had a lot going against you, but I saw your passion in your eyes, and I saw you were someone that you were a go-getter, so I was hoping it was right, and of course it worked out, because from there I got hired, and after 1 month, I think I increased their sale by like 33%, so of course I was like the big star. They had 3 stores at the time. They had San Dimas, Venice, which I loved. Of course, they sent me there for 2 days of training, which is the first time I ever went to Venice at the Max Muscle, and I loved it because all the pros were coming in and out all the time. And then so he promoted me from San Dimas manager to district manager. No, he sent me to the Orange store, which was their flagship store next to the corporate office in Orange County. And then from there, I got promoted a few months later to district manager, so I was in charge of San Dimas, Orange, and Venice. And I had all those people under me. I got a company car, so now I had my first car. It was just, things were going fast. Like, they saw I was a good employee, and I really cared about my job, and so I got promoted pretty quickly, which was nice, And then that's how my connections actually came about with bodybuilding even more, because as I was working for Max Muscle, especially when I would go to Venice to oversee the store, then during that time, this is the time where Tom Prince was in the store all the time, Lee Priest, Gary Stridham, you name it, Cormier, all these guys would all trickle down the store and come by, because Joe at the time had this giveaway program where any pros who was in town would get a free tank top. I think he had like $100 per month allocated for each pro for them to come and get some stuff per store every time per month. So if they were coming for a photo shoot, or that's why everybody was on Max Muscle, because the pros would know, oh, you got a photo shoot in Venice, you go by the store and you get a bunch of stuff, and then you can go do the photo shoot. That's how we got out there. Gotcha. So everybody loved me. They loved me because I was like Santa Claus every time they come in. That's how I got to know a lot of them.
That makes a lot of. That's a good segue to Venice, because everybody acts like the California scene's changed and whatnot. Since you've been there since it was as probably all-time hottest outside of the Arnold days. Has it really slowed down like in the past 5 years, or haven't you noticed much?
There's not as many, of course, because sometimes they tend to move to Vegas now, or the States, or Orange County, so you don't see them. But it's still a hot place. It's still buzzing. It is the mecca the most whenever the Arnold's around. Like right now, it's great to go. The Olympia's around, and everybody comes into town, especially the Olympia, because since it's Vegas, so many people will come to Cali first and stay here a few days before or after, and then drive to Vegas. So there's tons of them around that time, and that's really like the old days. Yeah.
How did you and is that how you and Jay met?
Did Jay just wander into the store?
Again, it's because of Max Muscle. People always assume that I got the job that I got today just because. Actually, they don't know. They don't know how. They just it's a mystery. But yeah, because I was with Max Muscle and I was a good employee, I had a lot of free reign. So I remember the way I met Jay the very first time was I was with at the Arnold, a friend of mine. He was with a friend of mine, and he wasn't competing back then. I met him in the DoubleTrees Hotel, because that's where it used to be. He was having lunch at a small little table at a restaurant with Carrie, and my friend introduced me to him. This is Cutler, whatever, a good friend of mine. So I said hi, and we moved on. That was it, And then that's when he went on to get second place at the Olympia 2001, and then right after that, he was doing a photo shoot in Fountain Valley with Per Bernal for Flex Magazine. And I remember I was actually training. I was training some people on the side, and I was training a girl, and she spotted Jay, and she said, "Oh my God, this guy is such a eye candy." And we trained right over here close to him, so I can keep watching him as he was doing the photo shoot. And he was doing some tricep push down. I remember exactly like it was yesterday. And so he spotted me with the girl, Jay, that is, and he stopped the shoot in its track. And he came to me, and he lent me his hand. He said, "Hey, I'm Jay. You remember me? I met you with Scott at the Arnold." I'm like, "Boy, do I remember you? Of course I remember you, I didn't want to disturb him, nothing like that. But the girl was just like, whoa. Like, I can't believe that he actually came to say hi to you. You know this guy?" So after that, he had decided not to do the Olympia. That's the year he skipped in 2002. And I sent him an email. I said, "Hey, it's Dave. We met a couple of times. I don't know if you remember me. I'm Scotty's friends. I wish you do the Olympia. I really think you can win it, blah, blah, blah." And I said, "Would you do me a favor? Could I get like a DVD, his first DVD, his first video, a cut above. His videotape was out at the time. I said, "Do you mind sending me a picture of the videotape, and then you know how much I owe you?" He says, "Oh, of course, I'll send you that, and no money required. Friend of Scotty is mine and stuff." And I said, "Listen, I have a good position as Max Muscle, and I seen in your video, you or whatever I see of you, you wear a lot of Max Muscle stuff. So if you would like, I'd send you some free stuff. I'm sure Max Muscle would be glad for you to keep wearing it." So I did. So it's kind of, and this is kind of what evolved into Jay getting a Max Muscle contract for clothing at one time. I don't know if you remember, he was with us. He was with Max Muscle for clothing for a little bit. I think from 2003 until he won the Olympia for like 3 years or something. That came from that because. He already had a supplement company contract and everything, so we couldn't touch him with that. But he had no clothing contract, so that's all he was wearing, Max Muscle stuff. So shortly after that, he came to, I think it was a 30 Arnold when he won it in 2002. He sent me an email or a call, and he said, "Hey, I'm coming to Cali to do some photo shoot with either Per Bernal or Chris Lund." And it was at the Metrics gym in Costa Mesa, and I was living right there at the time. He says, "I'm busy during the day, but I got nothing to do at night, so do you want to go grab a bite to eat?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, it's right by my house, so I'll go pick you up at your hotel," which was like a little suite. I can't remember the name of it, but he used to bring his dog Scrappy with him. So I went to go pick him up, and then we went to eat dinner at Mimi's Cafe. We used to love that place in Costa Mesa. And I remember when I first picked him up the first time, I was so nervous because that's the first time I was actually going to hang out with him, and I really felt like I had to be on my game and be funny, like a date. Almost. Like I felt if I'm not smart enough, if I'm not witty, if I'm not entertaining, he's never going to see me again. So I picked him up, and I remember seeing him in the door, and he was so wide, and it was like a wall. And I was like, God damn, he's so wide, this guy is unbelievable. So we went to dinner, and funnily enough, it was really easy to talk to him. It's talking to Jay is not all the stuff that I was worried about kind of just went right out of my head, because he's just, he talks about cars, and he talks about girls, and he doesn't talk about bodybuilding much. Unless you ask him a question about it, then he'll answer, but it's not what he talks about all day long, He likes talking about sneakers and whatever. He's like a guy's guy. He's not really a bodybuilder. You kind of forget who he is when you get to talk to him. He's very easy to talk to. So we had a good lunch. I brought him back to his hotel, and the next day he called again and said, that was very fun last night. You want to go back? I'm going to be here for 4 days. You want to go back? I said, yeah. So we went out and Ed and me every night until we went back to Vegas. And since then, we've been close ever since.
That's cool. That's very cool. So I actually want to go back to that to the Max Muscle stuff, because when did you tell the story of when you became an owner? Because I think everybody assumes you own the store now.
Okay, so when I used to, this is what happened. At one point, I told you I was supervising 3 stores. We were doing really well. So what happened is a corporate saw that, and they're like, man, we're doing really well with 3 stores. What if we got more? So sometimes stores would be in problems, but the owners didn't want to have it no more. So they went from 3 stores to acquiring 10 of them and put me in charge of all of them. So each store had 3 employees. I was in charge of 30 people. There was 2 in Vegas. There was 2 in San Diego. There was 1 in Palm Springs, all over the place, Moreno Valley. And it got to be way too much, for one person to run all that. Even the an assistant, and that just didn't work out. So slowly but surely, they started getting more into the franchising part of thing. So they started selling the stores one by one. So eventually, they kept doing that and doing that. So there was only like 2 stores left. They sold Venice. They had, I think they had Orange, and they had Newport left. And towards the end, they even sold Newport, and they actually did so without telling me. So I was kind of worried, because I'm like, okay, if they're selling all the stores, what's going to happen to my job? Because I was making good money back then. I was actually getting up there. It's like, they're never going to pay this kind of money for me to work for one store. So I kind of got scared, and some other guy actually put that idea in my head, like, who was actually inside the company. He's like, oh, they offered for me to buy the store, and he wanted me to become his partner. So he was like, oh, they're going to fire you, you better come with me. So that's what I did, actually. Went with that guy. It didn't work out. It was a mess. But Robin Kang had just bought the Max Muscle store in Venice with Flex Wheeler at the time. And the deal was Flex was supposed to help run it with Robin. But right at the same time they bought it, Flex actually moved to San Jose or wherever he's from. So Robin was stuck in that store for 1 entire year, and he's not a retail person. He never bought that store with the intent of running it. He was hoping it would just be an investment. And as Flex was also a Max Muscle employee towards the end of his career. I don't know if he not an employee, but a Max Muscle athlete towards the end of his career when he retired. So it was part of his deal, of his contract, I think, that he took over the store. It was going to be like get his Arnold trophies in there and all that stuff. It was nice, So after, it was around the time that I went to go see Robin, I was good friends with him. And I said he wanted to get out of there really badly. I remember he didn't want to be in there. So I offered, listen, Robin, would you want to sell the store to me? I had a friend of mine who had some money to invest, and he loved the store, and he was going to be a silent partner. He says, yeah, I'll give you a good deal for it. So that's what happened. In July 2004, I bought the Venice store from Robin, and right away he went on from that to become the promoter of the Olympia. Like, he must have worked on it for a while, because it was the first year that he actually promoted the Olympia, and of course did a great job ever since. With that. But so I took over the store officially in July 2004. And that was mine. Yeah.
One thing I think, kind of switching gears a little bit, one thing I think everybody wants to know, and myself included, because you kind of have, everybody knows, you're MadMax from the store, but really you have access to everybody because you've done it for so long, and you have, in my opinion, some of the best videos in bodybuilding, whether they're lifestyle videos or just you. Yeah, absolutely. Or just you doing like a quick 10-minute interview. So why did MD let you go?
That's okay. You know what? I never actually thought about this, and I'll gladly talk about it now. This is what happened. When Jay, everybody always thinks that me and Jay, wherever he goes, I go. And that's usually how it's been since the Flex days, I basically took my work that I was doing at the Muscle Mayhem chat site, which I wasn't getting paid for, but I was using it to promote the store, to finally getting a paying job at Flex, so Peter McGuff hired me, and I was just doing the pictures, back then, this little, blog and all that stuff. And then Jay left, of course, in 2009 and went to MD. And around that time, I remember Muscle and Saddle, who was just getting started, approached me and offered way more money than what Blechman was giving me, by over $1,000 more, to come with them because they had seen what I was doing with Flex. They liked it. I wasn't even doing video back then. I was just, doing pictures. And Jay's like, I don't know, man. They're just getting started. I know they get paying you more money, but what if they go under and then you're out of a job? He says, come with me. Come to MD. It's an established magazine. Make your mark over there. Just, keep promoting your own brand. And eventually, if the chance arises again, you can go and do whatever you want, So that's what I did. So we went to MD. Things were great. And that's when I started doing videos, because I was told, well, the pictures and the blog, it's not good enough. It's not worth what we're paying you. So I don't know if you know Mike, who actually built Muscle Man and MD, Mike Salazar. You guys know this guy?
Yeah, we're familiar with him.
Yeah, he used to be a partner on the. He's the one who built Muscle Man for Chad. Actually, he's a whiz with computer. But he told me you should start getting to videos. That way, it's more interactive and people will like it more. And so that's what I started doing. Very rough at first. I didn't know how to edit. I would just shoot something for about a minute or two, and that's the way I would post it on YouTube. I would not be able to cut it together or do anything to it. So people used to complain all the time. The videos are too short. The videos are too short. Because I didn't know how to put them together. But eventually, I learned. So we did that. We came to with this idea, Jay and I, to do an all-access series before his last Olympia competition, because he showed me this thing with Mayweather that they do on HBO, And I thought it was a great idea. And I told him, I said, why don't we do? He showed me that right after the Arnold, the last in 2013. And I said, why can't we do this for you when you come back to the Olympia? I'm sure it would be great. Everybody would watch that. So that was my idea, and he agreed to it. But for that, I would have to move back to his house for a length of time, and follow in. So we basically agreed, okay, let's start this 8 weeks out from the 2013 Olympia. I'm going to go to Vegas 3 days a week. And I'll come back to be with my kids 3 days a week, and that way I'll be able to shoot a ton of content, and I can still edit it and put it out while I'm in Cali. So I can put stuff out like every day. And we did that, and it was such a huge success. It gathered over 2 million hits, just that alone, before the last Olympia or leading up to the Olympia. So I was certain that Blechman had basically given me a partial raise the year before, because for 2 or 3 years, I think he kept me at the same salary. So listen, he could pay me more money, because I really think I stepped up my game and I deserve more money. So he said, listen, you're doing a great job. We really like you. We love what you're doing for us. But I'm going to give you half of the raise you're asking right now. And if you keep busting your ass like that, I will give you the other half next year. So, of course, during that time, I fulfilled all everything that was in my contract. Plus, I gave him that series leading up to the Olympia with Jay, which he loved. He was calling me all the time, oh, my God, you're doing such a great job. I can't believe it, blah, blah, blah. And that was all on our time. Jay gave me a place to sleep, fed me. I had to travel back and forth to Vegas twice a week, so it cost me a fortune on gas. And because of that, I couldn't work at the store anymore, because during that time, I also sold the store in 2010. But I was still helping a new guy a few days a week. So I technically did that series losing money, because it cost me a lot more, by not working at the store, and of course the expenses to this series. And we didn't care, because I really felt like, okay, Jay's going to benefit from that. Eventually, I'm going to get a raise, so I'll benefit from that, and it's a win-win for everyone, So the end of the contract came around, and it's around the time we signed right around the Arnold. So Jay is not getting re-signed. He told Blechman, listen, if you're not signing the contract before the Arnold Classic, no deal. And Blechman really thought he was going to bluff. So Jay, literally, as soon as he says, you have the day before I leave to sign that contract. If not, I'm gone. And Blechman thought, okay, I'll be able to see you at the Arnold. We'll work it out, whatever. So he refused to sign. And literally on the plane on the way to Columbus, Jay had a contract in his email, signed it when he got there, and at midnight it was announced he was going back with Flex. So Blechman was like, oh my God, I can't believe that he left. You can't fuck with Jay. If he's telling you something, he's going to do it. So you better do it, because he's not like these other guys. He has options,
Right.
So that left me with 1 month to go at MD and Jay gone. So, of course, the big question that we get was like, well, is Dave going to leave MD now that Jay's gone? Is he going back to Flex? Is he going back to Flex? So Jay told me, listen, talk to Blechman, give him for a sort of refusal, and if he doesn't want you to stay over there, because I didn't know if he wanted to keep me or not. I assume he would, but I didn't know if he wanted to keep me without Jay. He says, I'll find something for you. So I did. So we spoke, me and Blechman spoke when we came back from the Arnold, and he said, listen, do you want to stay? Because I want to keep you, but if you don't want to stay because Jay's gone, I understand.
Which one of these are you? The gullible, uninformed gym goer who gets hypnotized by $12,000 supplement ads with flashy made-up scientific terms created by a sales and marketing team? Or are you a knowledgeable, advanced athlete, bodybuilder, powerlifter, or fitness woman who knows the real deal? Well, let me tell you about fitness and bodybuilding's dirty little secret, TrueNutrition.com. The people who know what's really going on skip the retail sales team and go right to the manufacturer at TrueNutrition.com. TrueNutrition.com cuts out the middleman and is not only a source, but is also the manufacturer of raw ingredients for bodybuilding and fitness. At TrueNutrition.com, you can customize your own proteins, carbs, and fats. Put what you want in the supplements and make sure the other guys aren't putting bunk ingredients and fillers in your products just to make a fast buck. You can even customize your own oatmeals. You can use the do-it-yourself customizer to design your own supplements the way you want them designed. Stop being a newbie and start making your own supplements. You can at TrueNutrition.com. For an extra 5 to 10% off your orders, use the code PROJECTBB in the discount code box at checkout. That's PROJECTBB and get 5 to 10% off at TrueNutrition.com. Muscle Sport International prides itself on being an exclusive sports nutrition brand. But what does the term exclusive really mean when it comes to sports supplements? Anyone can create a formula, have it mass-produced and distributed throughout the market with profit as the only goal. The game changer is when a group of people put their heart and soul into a brand and make sure that every single detail is in line before a product ever sees a shelf. Visit us online at www.musclesport.com and see for yourself what exclusive is all about. Offering a wide range of products from pre, intra, to post-workout nutrition, along with our diet and anabolic series, musclesport.com is your one-stop shop. Visit musclesport.com and take your supplementation to the elite level.
I said, listen, I need to pay my bills, and right now I don't have another job. I could get one possibly, but I don't have one, so I would like to stay. He's like, what are you going to do? Assuming that all I do is only shooting Jay, and it's granted, people only see that because that's the biggest story out there, but I do a lot of other stuff also. He just wouldn't notice as much, I guess.
Right.
So, but he said, we really want to keep you. We really want to keep you. I said, okay, well then I'll stay. That's fine. So we agreed to stay. A month came by, and then there was time for my contract negotiation, and he wanted to re-sign me at the same money. I said, no, Steve, you promised me a raise. I delivered what I said I was going to deliver, and I gave you way more, including that road back to the Olympia with Jay, which brought you $2 million just for me, just for us. You owe me that raise. You said you were going to give it to me, so I don't want to sign for the same money. So what happened after that? He just never returned my phone call. He never returned my email. Sometimes I would get paid late. I would have to call Adina constantly. Where's my paycheck? What's going on? Am I being let go? For months and months and months until finally in July, like every month I was always wondering if I was going to get paid because it was always late, or then finally the check would come a few days later. But I had bills to pay. I can't just wait. Plus, it's kind of like I went from working for him, being really proud and being really happy to put out content, to like putting out content because I was worried that I was going to get fired. And it's not a good environment to work in. And I told that to Gina. I said, now I'm just busting my ass because I'm worried I'm going to get fired. That's no good.
Right.
I want to bust my ass because I want him to be happy about what I do, and everyone's happy, but he's making it really hard for me. So he doesn't give a shit. Steve's rich, and as long as he gets what he wants, that's all he cares about. So finally in July 2nd, he calls me, and he says, Dave, I really feel bad doing this, but we're going to have to let you go. I'm like, what do you mean? First of all, you're calling me after the 1st, so I'm assuming you're gonna pay me this month, because you can't call me July 2nd telling me I'm not getting paid check. I get bills coming, you can't do that. He says, okay, we'll pay you this month, but consider that's basically your warning, your last paycheck, unless we can find a way to keep you on board for less money. And like, I gave you so much, man. I can't believe that you would do this. And you told me you're going to keep me. You promised me a raise. I gave you all that. And now you're doing this. He says, well, subscriptions are down. And, we have Jordan over there in Venice who's doing the videos. But I'm like, he's not going to want to do everything that I do. He says, listen, I love your content. It has nothing to do with you. You're putting out good content, and everyone likes you. But he told me this, and I remember, good content costs money. And I'm like, what the hell does that mean? Of course it costs money. Well, you want good content for free? but he was never proactive enough to actually go out there and try to sell the show, try to sell the content, or go to the athletes' sponsors that would be shooting for them to put their logo on it and get some money somehow. He never cared. All he cared about is sponsoring the shows that he would go and cover, the play-by-play. That he would be good about getting money for. So I'm like, I'm bringing you a ton of stuff that no one else has. It's unique content. It's stuff that nobody else has. It gives us an edge, and you just throwing it away. He didn't want to hear it no more. He was done. He had made his decision. So I'm like, okay.
Do you think MD is eventually going to? I mean, they're going to have to change their model because they've lost a lot of money with subscriptions. The forums aren't any good anymore, in my opinion. And they're not re-signing athletes, or they're losing athletes. So you think they're eventually going to have to change the model completely, or will they just shut it down?
I don't think that Steve is capable of change. I think he thinks he knows what works, and he's not willing to listen, I guess, because, I know that he was calling my friend Mike, Salazar, who built the site, sometimes that, how do we get more clicks? How do we get? And Mike had tons of ideas, and he's another one who got fired for literally no reason. Mm-hmm. He says, I have so many ideas that could improve the site, but he doesn't want to listen. So Steve's not someone that, likes to listen. He likes having the people that are high profile. He likes the Sean Rays, he likes the Peter McGuff, because their name is just so big that's what he likes. He likes that kind of stuff, but I like reading Peter's article and everything. It's great, but it's not going to save the magazine by itself.
What are your thoughts on Flex magazine? Because I know the internet fans get bummed out when a big star signs with Flex and then they shelve them. I mean, we even had Roman Fritz on, who was with Flex for 2 years, and he was begging Flex magazine to use them, and they had him under contract, and they just didn't do anything with them. What do you think about that?
I don't get that. I don't get that either. I mean, I know that Jay was there for a whole year after the MD deal, and even him. I mean, they had him under contract, and they didn't use. I was hoping that freelance, at least, I would be able to do some videos and sell them to Flex and stuff. But I don't think they want to put any more resource. I don't know if they knew what was going to happen. As far as I know, they're trying to sell Flex magazine, so they can't really have too many people under contract, because then you can't sell a company if there's a bunch of people attached to it by contract. And that's all I know. But I mean, you know what? I have no hard feelings towards Flex. I really love working there, actually, and especially when Peter was there. But when the new guys took over, what's his name? Alan Donnelly, which is he's the sole reason why Jay left, by the way. Because he went on the radio publicly and said that he was done, unless you show up and JB's done, forget about it. So Jay's like, you know what? I'm going to win deal. And I remember I had saved that thing on my phone. It was in Pro Bodybuilding Weekly, and he was basically saying publicly, yeah, Jay's pretty much done, and Jay was so pissed. He said, you watch. And he was still under contract at the time with them. He said, I'm going to win the Olympia, and I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to MD just to say fuck you to this guy. And he did.
What year was that?
I apologize after. Huh?
What year was that?
What year?
Yeah.
09.
Oh, nice. That was his best ever.
Yeah. and the guy was floored. So tried to apologize. I'm sorry, it's too late. Jay's like, you fucked with me once, it's over, dude. We were talking about that since, months before. We knew it was going to happen. He's the only reason why Jay left, Flex Magazine, Adam Donnelly.
That's incredible.
He did it to the magazine. So, but I love working there. I love working for Peter. I'm sure if Peter was still at Flex, I'd still be there. I would have never left.
Hey, speaking about guys leaving though, what are your thoughts on Kai leaving Muscle Meds? That was kind of the big story this past week.
And this is just what I heard. I heard that he was asking for, and I have no specific of how much money he was making. I'm sure he was doing well, but he basically asked for more money for a raise, and they refused. That's all I know. Now everybody's wondering where he's going. He went to Florida, so they're guessing either BSN or Prime Nutrition. I have no clue. My personal guess would be BSN, because I think they're the first ones who signed Ronnie, back in the day, and when we signed them, nobody had any clue who BSN was. They weren't big, so it was like a shocker that they got him. But I think Ronnie really made their brand back then, and now they have Flex. So to me, it just makes sense that they would sign Kai
someone really big in the open. Who the hell else they have in the open?
Who's that?
I think they have Flex. Who do they have in the open? Like they have Flex in the 212, but who's their athlete in the open?
I don't even know if they do have.
Yeah.
Anyone.
Well, they had Sister Nino for a while, but he left to go.
He's
to
not open though either.
But
oh yeah, that's right. He's
also,
212. Right, you're right.
So I think it would make sense to me that Ty would go with the Ascent. So we'll see.
Oh, they have Rolly Winkler.
There you go.
Okay, but see again, he's not here. That's the problem. You know,
right.
He's not local. So they would have a lot more bang for their buck with someone like Kai, who's much more visible and accessible.
So, if you're Kai, though, I mean, we all assume he's going to get signed, but will he get signed for more money remains to be seen. Do you think that was a good move, or should he just, if you were him, would you have kept your mouth shut? Because I heard the numbers were big.
Astronomical. Well, you know what? He's getting older. He's towards the tail end of his career. Who knows if he's going to win the Olympia? I think it's a smart move on his, and he's out there. He has a big following. He has a lot of fans. So, he took a gamble, and it could go either way. But I think he's going to get more. I would think.
What about
he's second in the world right now? So
I think, yeah. And speaking of that, I think he's like the Rocky story. Everybody loves the number 2 guy more than the number 1 guy.
Always underdog.
Underdogs will always be the guy. Yeah, when you're at the Orleans Arena for the Olympia, and I swear every year I'm there, the crowd cheers more for Kai than they do for.
He's the Jay Cutler of his era. When Jay kept getting second to one, and he's the Jay Cutler of the new era. I mean, as far as
that's true, yeah.
He keep coming to the door, keep knocking on the door, and sometimes people are like, oh my God, I think he's going to get it, and he doesn't. That's good for him. Definitely. Sometimes
do you miss
it's better not to win.
Do you miss the old days though, before the internet? Because I think a lot of people think the internet's kind of washed the allure and the mystique of the bodybuilders down because they're so accessible. Do you like it better now, or?
I like it better now because I wouldn't have a job back then. I'm not a good writer. I'm not a good writer, so it makes guys. The love I have today, the life I have today and the job I have today, I couldn't be any happier. I'm now with Muscle Insider, and these guys are just so great. I know they're only from Canada and their magazine's only from over there, but since I aligned myself with them in August, which was basically exactly 1 month after I was let go with MD, I called everybody. I called Dave Palumbo, I called Flex, I called Scott, of course, who wanted me from Muscle Insider before I signed with MD. I called him back, but he's like, listen, I don't really have a budget to hire you, so what would you be doing? And I told him he knew my stuff. I sent all my videos for this, and we'll take a chance. Because the things that had changed back then, he said, we'll see what happens. And then, so he gave me a contract, more as a partner than as an employee per se. But he said, the more money we make, the more money you'll make. And so I started small, and now I'm so happy over there. And of course, since then, they've grown exponentially because even though they're based out of Canada, all the content I'm feeding from here and all my connections give them so much more than what they had bargained for, So, I mean, no one will say no to shoot to me. I still have one person to tell me I don't want to shoot with you. They just I don't know why. I'm so lucky that the athletes are on my side. And I was worried when I'd be leaving MD that people would say, oh well, he's with nobody right now. But I think they just like watching what I do. It doesn't matter if it's on Flex or MD or anywhere else. They just want to watch the videos.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I know Muscle Insider's kind of an institution up here, so I'm in Vancouver, so.
Already? Yeah, I'm sure they're big in Canada and stuff, but I think since we, kind of joined force and stuff, now it's like they're not Canada's biggest company. It's like they're worldwide now, and they're the only people over the last 12 months to actually, picking up steam as far as publication, because now they're also available to be picked up on iTunes, and you can get, the online subscription if you can't get the magazine here. So it's great, And
it's nice that they still cater to bodybuilding, which is nice. I know they're starting to dabble in the physique a bit more and stuff like that, but they haven't completely turned their back on the bodybuilding side, which a lot of publications have. Yeah.
And they won't, because you know what? Scott is such a bodybuilding fan.
Yeah, that's
He
true.
loves Venice. He loves Firehouse. He loves gold. If he could train at gold every day and be at Firehouse every day, he would. He's just the hardest core fan I've seen. He loves that stuff. So it's great that he's in charge.
Sure. David, all the videos I've seen of yours, you never once talk about yourself, which is refreshing because a lot of people don't like that when the hosts talk about themselves. But you'd be blind not to notice. You're fucking ripped, man. What's your story?
I try not to talk about myself because it's funny because even now when I do interviews and I'm just, a couple of days for a show or, I'll shoot all the way up to the contest pretty much. And people that I interview, I'm like, my God, you look good, like Miss Olympia or whatever. And they'll say, my God, you look good. And I said, well, I'm here to shoot you. Let's not talk about me. I align myself. I've been doing bodybuilding since I'm 18 years old, competitively back in Canada. And I've always admired so much these guys and had so much respect for them. And of course, before I moved here, was hoping one day I would become pro. But, I came here and I realized how big these guys really were and how good they were. I'm like, oh, I don't think I could ever be a pro bodybuilder. And I tried to compete a few times here and there throughout the years, but I never was able to get really good. I was okay. I was average, I would say, but I was never any good. So I kind of gave up on the dream of competing and be any good at it. I think I would just compete just to kind of, so I wouldn't get so fat, because if you have no goal, then you just completely go the other way and you're like horrible, so.
Right.
So competing was basically just like a little motivation for me to be looking okay. So, and then when I left MD, what happened is that when I started at the Muscle Insider, I was in search of content. Of course, everybody's telling me, yeah, we'll still shoot with you. Don't worry, we're like working with you. But I wasn't sure if they would really do it, if people were just saying that. So I was doing a video. Actually, I did it with MD for Abbas Katami for his return to the stage last year. So I went to go shoot Abbas Katami in Orange County at his gym, and I was asking him, do you have anybody helping you out? Do you have a prep coach, whatever? He said, yeah, this guy Eric Brozer, he's unbelievable, and maybe if we shoot again after the show, because he was going to do 3 shows in a row, we can bring him on and we can shoot him at gold or something. I said, yeah, I'd like that. That'd be good, So after the show ended, we went back to Venice a couple of weeks later, and he brought over his coach, Eric Brozer, which I got to meet. And we hit it off right away. Just a great guy from New York, very, very nice, now living here. And I loved his method. He's kind of like Charles Poliquin. I don't know if you guys Charles Poliquin and all these strength coaches and stuff. Very, very smart, guy. So I loved what he had to say. And I said, I think I'm going to see this guy again. So in the meantime, I'm leaving MD. I'm starting with Muscle Inside. And now I was like, okay, I need good content and I need something I can get on a regular basis. So I thought, why not start a show with Eric where I could give him a platform to talk about his diet strategies, his training method, all that stuff. So we could answer people's questions kind of just like a learning sort of show, so we can learn something. So I called him and I ran the idea by him and he loved it right away. And he said, yeah, let's start doing it. So that's what happened. So we started doing that show and then we became good friends. And then he said, if you really like competing, you have seen that I've done DLA last year, didn't do so good. I think I was like 6 or 7. He said, I think you have a good frame, you have a good shape, so I could help you do better. So I'm like, what the hell? I don't want to stop competing. So yeah, I'll have you help me out. So we started working together officially on my contest prep December 6th of 2014. And the goal was to do the Jay Cutler Classic as a first show and possibly go all the way to the West Coast Classic, which was June. Jay's show was April 24th, I think. Well, April 4th. And Lonnie's show was at June 27th. I was going to compete for sure at Jay's first show in Vegas and then Lonnie in California. So it was a 17 weeks prep for the first show. And his diet was so easy. His training methods were so fun. It was like fun to go back to the gym again. Sometimes you go for a long time and you just kind of get bored and you don't know what to do no more. And you just kind of do the same old thing all the time. I was in a rut, So with him, everything was changing all the time, every day. The diet was so easy, no more suffering, no more eating fish, no more doing cardio first thing in the morning. It's like everything you like about bodybuilding, you have still, and everything you hate, as far as suffering things, he takes out of the equation.
Sign
so
me
all
up.
that stuff is good.
Yeah, what's his email?
Unbelievable. He's unbelievable. He is so good. That's why I call him Merlin. That's why I call him, a wizard, because he's so good, that guy. And I told him afterwards, I said, how do you not have your name as big as Hey, make them shut up, guys. Sorry about that, guys. The dog is going crazy.
Those sound like Yorkies.
I have half Yorkie, half Shih Tzu, and 2 Shih Tzus.
I knew it.
I have 6 dogs in here. And 1
fucking dog whisperer over here.
It's a zoo. I just he's just And I told him, I said, how are you so good and no one knows about you? That was, to me, a mystery. You should be up there with the Charles Glass, with the Chris Aceto, the George Farrer, Ahani, all these guys. And the reason is Eric is actually been around the block quite a few times. He's wrote for all the major publications. He's wrote for MD. He's wrote for Iron Man. He's wrote for everybody. He's known Chad all the way back from the days of Muscle Mayhem. So everyone knows his name, but nobody knew what he looked like. But when you say his name, people are like, oh, I know this guy. And the reason is Eric is a natural professional bodybuilder. So all the people he's been helping all these years are pretty much natural athletes, which is completely, we're oblivious to that. All we care about is to get PCB, IFBB. And that's why no one knows about it. So I said, well, you just wait, because if things are working out, with me, I know everyone. So as they see me change, as time went on and I just started progressing so much, people are like, what the hell are you doing? So when I go to Goals now, you should see people watching us train. It's really, really funny because now it's like all the pros are actually coming to him saying, to Eric, hey, I'm competing soon. Can I have the Dave plan? That's what they call it. It's unbelievable. He's a magician, that guy. He's just, I can't say any more than just, and you know what's great about him is that when you prep for it, everybody knows that towards the end it gets really hard, the water depletion, the deplete, the carb up, the diuretic, none of it with him. None. No diuretic. I don't cut the water. I don't cut the sodium. I don't cut my carbs. Nothing.
Huh.
It's
so
unbelievable.
the big question is, how did you do in the show? 8th?
Okay, so
without the diuretics.
No. The first show in Vegas,
I felt so good.
I had to actually get like really lean from the beginning, and my before pictures are not that flattering. So I had 17 weeks. I was actually in really good condition for Jay's show, but kind of flat. We cut the water because we didn't know on the last meal on Friday. So I ended up kind of flat on stage on Saturday. So I got 4th at that show. Then I went and did the Jay Cutler Classic in Boston, where I was judged by Weinberger and all the Olympia judge, actually. He brings his whole crew. That was kind of cool, actually. I got 3rd over there in a really, really tough lineup. So I got 4th in Vegas, 3rd in Boston. Then I did Lonnie's show in California, and I got 3rd again in the heavyweights. And then I just did the Orange County Classic a couple of weeks ago, and I got 2nd to that one.
Very cool.
So I keep going up all the time. It's just, and funny enough, the guy who beat me at the Orange County Classic just a couple of weeks ago was 6th a month before when I was 3rd in at the West Coast. So I don't get judging, but that's okay. I mean, I don't care. I was happy for him. It's just kind of weird sometimes.
Speaking of judging, Olympia is 4 weeks out. Mm-hmm. Who do you got? Who do you got this year? Obviously, like Phil and Kai, but give us like a top 6 or top 8. Putting you on the spot.
I would say unless Phil's off, he's going to win. Kai, you know what? And it's funny because every time I say this, I love all these guys. I don't want them to get pissed off or anything like that. I'm friends with all of them, and I would really like for Kai to win eventually. I just don't know if it's going to happen. But I've seen Roden this year, and I'm about to shoot him right now for an interview in a training.
Is he really 15 pounds bigger like I'm hearing?
He skipped the Olympia. I'm telling you, he skipped the Olympia. And everyone was like, oh, why is he doing that? And he was kind of like heavy in the off-season, meaning like...
You mean the Arnold?
He wasn't lean. We're like, oh, boy, he's a little bit out of shape. And I'm telling you, I think that's the best decision he could have ever made not to do the Arnold because I'm telling you, he's really big right now and he's in shape. I just saw him actually. I mean, I see him all the time up front, close at goal, so I know how big he is, but that doesn't mean he's big because I see him with clothing on, he's wearing sleeves, he's all covered up, I can't see nothing. But then I saw him get exposed to Florida, and I'm like, holy shit, he's in shape. So it's not like he's big and he's off. So he's going to be really dangerous this year.
Does he have enough to knock out Phil, though, or no? Because you got to knock the champ out. It's one of those.
I know. Things. I don't know. I think Phil's going to be really. And Phil's really big right now. We know he'll be in shape and stuff. It would be a huge upset, but I could see Sean moving up to 2nd place easily.
Where do you have Wolf? Do you think Wolf's petered out, or does he still have something in the tank?
I don't know, Dennis. He's improved his backlog. I think Dennis is going to be 4th. I'd be surprised if he beats those 3.
Yeah,
I think Dennis is going to be 4th. Dexter is going to be 5th because he's really big too, and he'll be in shape. And so I don't think they'll put Dexter out of the top 5. He'll be like a Sean Ray, where he has the most top 5, forever.
Mm-hmm,
I mean, I think Dexter will be I mean, I'd love for him to do more because I think, you know, I kind of like Dexter now. I used to not like him so much, but he's very older years. You know, he's actually kind of cool. But these guys are going to be really hard to beat. You know.
So there's what we've talked about on the on my forum is that there's like a log jam of good guys from like number 6 that could place anywhere from 6th to 12th. You know, there's a ton of from Big Ramy to help me out here, Taylor. Steve Kuklo if he gets in, Branch Warren,
Juan Morel.
Oh Morel,
all of them,
John De La Rosa.
Yeah, there's tons of guys that'll be bottlenecked in that spot, and you're going to see someone pull a Roly Winkler who you're going to think is going to be 6th or 7th and show up in last, right? You never know.
It's kind of nice to have surprise because it's kind of depressing to know that you can almost on paper tell what the judging is going to be or what the placing is going to be. It's not fun, you know. I mean, it'd be nice sometimes. It's nice when there's an upset. You're like, whoa, you know, I didn't see that one coming, or you progress so much that. But these guys have paid their dues, and if everybody keeps progressing and stuff, it's hard to change the placing because it's just like they were the year before, but just a little bit better. So of course that's why it kind of stays the same, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless someone completely messes up, and then someone can leap forward, but that's rare. I mean, someone has to regress. You know, a lot of people say, "Oh, well, you know, Jay would have never won in 2006 if Ronnie didn't start going backwards." Well, that's aging. You know what I mean? I mean, many people think Jay should have won in 2001, and technically he had. He was winning after the pre-judging. You know, so technically he could have been champion since back then. So it's hard to tell. Everybody's going to have their own.
Hey, let me put you on the spot, and I don't want to hear a biased opinion either here. 2007, did Victor really beat Jay?
He was great. This is what, and this, oh man, I guess if Jay would have lost that year, it would have been easier to take than other years. I'll just say that. How's that? Because Victor was phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know,
and you know what happened also? Jay had a really bad infection in the shoulder right before the show, a few days before, so he was retaining water everywhere. That's what happened. We didn't even know if he almost pulled out of the show. That's what people don't know.
Oh wow!
So he was actually lucky to compete. Yeah, he had to get the shoulder drained after that and all that stuff before going to Australia. It was really bad for him. So we're lucky he was actually on stage. Yeah. So you know, but Victor looked phenomenal, and I guess I would say, and I love Victor too. He's so great. So I guess if he would have won, I would have not been as upset as, let's say, 2008 when Dexter won. And you know what's funny in 2008? When Jay, because he was really pissed off about 2007, he was really like, okay, I'm going to make a statement. I'm really going to show up and, you know, win this thing hands down, because he felt people were talking shit after 2007, which they were. So backstage, when he finally took his clothes off, he looked so phenomenal, Jay, that every photographer, because I was looking for Flex at the time, so I had backstage passes, they all dropped what they were doing and they all circled Jay and started taking pictures. They could not believe how good he looked. He looked unbelievable. They were like, oh my God, this is it. You know, it was like 2009 all over again, except it was a year before. And for some reason, I left him. I went back to my seat. And from the moment he was backstage taking pictures until he went on stage, everything fell apart. He started sweating. He always rubs his hands. I can always tell when he gets nervous because he rubs his hands together and he starts sweating. So he just always, you know, removes the sweat from his face. I think he just got nervous. He just got so nervous about, are things going to go wrong, whatever. He basically self-sabotaged himself just with nerves and cortisol and lactic acid, and it just fucking went to shit. In 20 minutes, he lost the show.
That's incredible, because you don't think somebody as seasoned and as professional as Jay would actually get nervous.
And you know what? I asked him that. I said, have you always been this nervous? So he says, always. And we always think these guys are so got it together and they're like, you know, they're such professional and champions. Nothing scared them. It's far from the truth, man. They go through the same thing we do. He says, there's not one show that I've never been nervous. Oh, is thing going to go wrong? I'm like, wow, I can't believe it. The only time he wasn't nervous was 2009. And I remember, again, I was backstage with him, and he was working with Honey for the first time. And Honey's like, oh, you got to go talk to him, make sure you get a pep talk until the end, like he doesn't get nervous. So I went in the dressing room, and I was like, are you going to be okay? Don't worry, you're the champion. He was about to get his title back, and he was smiling, and he said, oh, man, wait till I go on stage, man. I got lines where I've never seen him. I'm like, okay, he's fine. I knew.
What are his nerves, though? What are his nerves, though, Dave? Is it like 20,000 people in the arena, or is he worried that he just doesn't look good?
No, I think it's the pressure. I think he knows he looks good, but I think it's just the pressure. So much pressure. There's so much riding on the outcome that it just gets to be too much, you know. And I think once you have the title, I think the fear of losing it is worse than the fear of. There's no fear when you want to get it, and if you lose, you lose. You're still a loser.
Is that why? Is that what? I was just gonna say, is that why you think people's perceptions of Phil Heath have changed? Because when Phil Heath was coming into second place to Jay, people loved him.
Yeah.
Phil Heath wins a couple of them, they love him, and then his attitude on video and interviews really started to change, and that's when you saw the tide of people not liking him. Well, he's got his fans. Don't get me wrong, but like we've seen a clear tide of people turned off by him now. Is that the same pressure we're talking about? Maybe
I'm sure. You know, it's like it's hard to. I mean, I know Phil's confident, and great friend of Phil, great champion, and all that stuff. I've known him personally. I think it's really hard to be on top because not everybody can just take the criticism from people and let it roll off his back. And Jay was good at that. Jay was good about people calling him a fridge and calling him all kinds of bullshit. He's like, I don't give a shit. I'm no one cashing the check. That was his attitude. He was like, I could care less. I'm not going to be liked by everybody. He knew that. And it didn't bother him. But I think Phil's different. I think Phil takes things more to heart, and he's more maybe sensitive to that stuff than Jay is. So he gets angry. That's the difference. You know? So I think it's hurting him because he doesn't know how to just kind of take it in and let it roll off his back. It just really bothers him. So, of course, he lashes out. But I can't blame the guy. If people were talking shit about me, I'd probably feel the same way he does, you know? Not everybody's like Jay, cool and collected.
Speaking of talking shit, one of my favorite videos of you online, by far one of my favorite videos online. Like, if I'm having a bad day and I just want to laugh for a little bit, there's a video online.
Oh, no.
Yes. You?
I just know what you're talking about.
You and Isaac Hinds are at an expo. And somebody's filming you. I don't know who it is. Isaac Hinds, for you guys that know.
It's Ron Abbott. Ron Abbott from Get Big.
And he said, and there you two are. There's Isaac, hands in his hooded sweatshirt, hands in pockets. There's you with your tank top, looking all jacked like you just did 100 push-ups. And skinny Isaac is like, you're a fucking schmo. What is Dave, or what is Jay doing?
Have you seen the picture where Jay's watching and pointing too?
Oh, I've seen the picture.
You know why? I'll tell you why.
Jay did about 4 passes to laugh at you guys.
Because he was the one who told Ron Abbott, who was standing right with Isaac, you need to shoot this. Start shooting right now. So Jay's goofing out because he's glad it's on camera. He organized this whole thing. This is what happened.
Okay.
And this would go way back. Since I've been friends with Jay, I've kind of been his publicity guy. It's always been the way it's been, you know, since I know him. It was a natural thing. We just never stopped, you know. So when Phil came along, Isaac was kind of like the same thing. He was kind of like, you know, what I do for Jay, he was doing for Phil, and that's great, you know. But for some reason, Isaac had a problem with what I did for Jay. He would say, "Why are you shooting Jay picking up his dog shit?" And I never did that. That was Brian Glenn. It was some other guy who actually shot him. It wasn't even me. But he would just be bothered for me to shoot him when he's having food at, you know, his chicken place where he goes, or the random stuff when we ride in the car. But I always feel what people want to see the most is things that you will see outside the gym, the lifestyle. What Jay's saying when he's driving his car? What does he say when he goes to eat when he goes to the dentist? Things like that, because they don't get to meet him as a person. They don't get to hang out with him. So I like to show that side of his life because they feel like they're right in the car with him. They're right next to him, and they see what he's thinking when he's just doing other things and just lifting. To me, that's interesting. Not everybody gets it. Obviously, he doesn't get it. So he would always talk shit. He would always say, "Yeah, you're weird. You're a schmo." And he would always be public on social media, on a website, or on tweets or whatever. And so a few times I told him, "Listen, dude, you need to stop this because I'm just, you know, mind your business. You do your thing with Phil. I'll do my thing with Jay." And he would just randomly would always say, and I said, "Listen, dude, one of these days I'm going to catch you in person." And of course, when I would see him at the Olympia or the Arnold, he would never say anything to my face. He would only do that online when I'm not there. So when the Expo came around, which was not the one just passed, the one last year, I was eating my food. I was about to compete at the Legend, I remember, in Vegas. And I was 1 week away from the show. And then I see him, I was eating my food, and I'm like, should I go talk to him? I'm like, I'm not going to do that. And then he just kept standing there talking to Jay with Ron. I was like, you know what, fuck this. I'm going to go talk to him. That's when I put my food aside and I went and go talk to him. I said, listen, don't worry about what I do. I said, you're a goof. You look like someone out of the reverse of the nerd. You don't belong in bodybuilding. We accept you. So just leave me be, man. And do your job. I'm glad you're able to make a living. He's like, oh, you're insulting me. I said, well, dude, look at you. You know, you're a goof, man. I don't think you belong in here, but your friends with Phil Heath. And just like Jay sort of helped me with my career, Phil helped you with yours. You were shooting his DVD and all that stuff. So good for you. I don't hate on you. Why do you talk shit about me? Just quit it, you know? I said, if you have a problem, let's go outside right now. Of course, he wouldn't do that. But, you know, but after that, I said, just do me a favor, forget my name. Don't ever bring my name publicly ever again, and we'll have no problem. And you never did. That was it after that.
How close were you to punching him in the face?
I was close. I was really pissed. I was waiting to do something. But then, you know what? I would have get kicked out of the expo. I would have not been able to help Jay the whole weekend. So
you probably would have gotten deported.
Yeah. I remember when Jay told the story and showed the video to Weinberger, Steve Weinberger. Steve told him, I'm very disappointed in Dave. You should have punched him. Because Steve's a brawler, man. He doesn't take any shit either.
Yeah.
That's great.
You know?
Taylor, any final questions before we get Dave in 10 questions mode?
No, well, you got the 10 questions are pretty all-encompassing. I'm just a little curious, just two things, kind of the same kind of question. What's the best either bodybuilding or business advice you got from Jay, and vice versa? What's a piece of advice you tried to give Jay that he maybe didn't listen to, and he should have?
The worst piece or the best piece of advice?
Either or. You can give any examples. Both would be good. Worst sounds actually more entertaining than what I
Okay. All right. I mean, I don't know much about bodybuilding as far as guru shit and all that stuff, but I know that the past few years they competed. I know in 2011 and 2013, he looked his absolute best 2 weeks out from the show. He's hard, he's dry, he's got no body fat, and he's full. He's got 270 pounds. And every time you either work with Hani or with Aceto, these guys are hell-bent into loading or giving directs to the athletes, and it's not good for everybody. Yeah. So when he shows me picture and he's 2 weeks out or 10 days out at 270 ripped and dry and ready to go, he could step on stage today. I'm like, and I told him, I remember, I said, please tell me you're not going to take any diuretic for this show. I mean, you're ready now. And I remember that was directed towards Hani. And he says, I know. I told him the exact same thing. I look so good right now. I told him, Hani, do I really need diuretics? I mean, I don't think I do. And he says, yeah, man, no choice. We got to do it. And of course, we knew what happened. He lost the title in 2007. So I really wish that sometimes he would just only listen to himself because he knows when it's right. He knows. But when you have a prep coach, it can go either way. Either, you know, they're right or either they're wrong. And sometimes they're wrong. So there's a lot. You're the only one that loses. You know what I mean? Jay's the only one who lost because he didn't follow his first, instinct, I guess. You know, Jay's someone who's so lean all the time that whenever he competes for a show, he's ready easily 3 or 4 weeks out.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so there's not much to do towards the end. Just cruise into the show. And I remember showing pictures of him to Peter McGuff sometime, and he would say constantly, tell him not to change anything. Please don't change anything. Please don't change. He's ready now. Don't touch anything. You know.
You think Jay's just more so prone to having issues with water and depleting and flattening out and things like that?
Absolutely. That's his problem. He always ends up fat. And, you know, if he ends up fat, then he looks small and he looks depleted, and that's when his imbalance shows up more and his flaws. But if he's full, then forget it. Nobody beats him. This guy, I'm telling you, should be competing at 270 at 5'9", because I've seen him, and he's grainy, and he's hard, and he's full, and he's round. He can't be 250. He's losing 20 pounds of pop.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, you know. The best advice I get from him always is that this guy is just, he's a hustler. I love the fact that no matter how much he's got, no matter how successful he is, he never stops working. He's always thinking ahead. He's always, I mean, I do a lot sometimes, and right now he's kind of making fun of me because I'm juggling, like, 3 jobs sometimes, but it's just, I get it from him. He's just someone who always, pushes himself to do more, and when people say you're doing great, he does even more. He's just really, really motivating that way because he's never sort of satisfied, but not because he's greedy. It's just because he's blue collar, I think. He doesn't know what's chilling me, He just always does all the time. I don't think he'll ever retire as far as not working. He's not the type to just sit on his ass and do nothing all day. it's mail order, it's traveling, it's, you know, going to see a kid's, sponsoring a kid's baseball team or something. He's always doing something. And there's so much that he does that people don't know behind the scene that's so great. You know, he's so generous in everything that he does. It's just, you know, he's awesome. That's why everybody loves him.
Exactly.
True.
All right, let's hit the music, Taylor, and we'll do 10 questions.
Cute.
Okay,
here we go. And remember, you can answer these, you know, short or long, but they're coming from all angles here. So, question number 1: name a Mr. Olympia and the year, a winner who you didn't think deserved first place.
You know, I one that sticks out in my memory would have been Sean Ray in 1996. The second time that he almost won against Dorian. I wish he would have won that year. Was it the right year? When he had his torn bicep and everything. Yeah, I think 96.
Yes, it was.
He had second place twice. The first time, and I remember at the time, and this is kind of what sometimes makes bodybuilding sucky. I remember someone at the Olympia had heard Wayne DeMille saying, "Well, I really like Sean Ray, and technically he should win, but he's too small, so we gave it to Dorian." You know what I mean? That really sucks. If you feel someone should win because he's the best, well, don't make him lose because he's smaller. It really sucks, you know. Because Sean was perfect back then, so that's in my memory. Yeah.
All right, question number 2: are you familiar with the game Fuck, Marry, Kill?
What's it called?
It's called Fuck, Marry, Kill. I'm going to give you 3 people's names, and you can either fuck one of them, marry one of them, or kill one of them. Actually, you have to choose one from all 3.
Yeah, you got to sort them into the folder.
The right category. Okay. So the 3 names are Caitlyn Jenner, Iris Kyle, and Carrie Cutler.
Oh boy. Okay. So give me this, and I remember the name, but give me the choices.
It's fuck, marry, kill.
Yeah. You got to fuck one, marry one, kill one.
Shit. Okay, I've married Terry.
Probably smart, yeah.
She's so great. I love that girl. She's so nice.
Now you're left with a tough choice.
Now you're left with a very tough choice.
Oh, shit. I guess I would have to fuck Iris.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that one.
Yeah. That's a good answer.
I love Iris, too, by the way. She was just in Venice the past few days with Heat A. She was hanging out and stuff, so it was good to see her.
Are they together or just business partners?
As far as they're a business partner, but, you know, people talk. There's always rumors and stuff. I know they're great friends, so, you know.
Yeah, interesting.
I don't know what's going on. Yeah.
Question number 3. Who is the bigger scumbag, Bill Cosby or Jared from Subway?
What did Jared do? Is the latest in the
child
news?
Porn.
I don't even know.
He has child porn. Pled guilty too. Yeah.
He's getting at least 5 years for child.
Yeah, he's not accused.
I'm glad I asked because he would have to be the biggest son then. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty bad what Cosby did, but you know, I feel they're older.
Yeah, they were at least adults.
Yeah.
Question number 4: in bodybuilding, which Mr. Olympia champion pulls the most girls? Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, Dorian Yates, or Phil Heath?
Who has the most as far as girls, you mean, or how many?
Just who has the most success with women sexually?
Not necessarily that they sleep with the most, but they could sleep with the most. Who generally has the most chicks around the
Jay,
middle?
hands down.
Yeah.
Okay. He gets marriage requests on the daily. That guy.
Yeah.
No strings attached. Just that. Yeah. Look at the guy. You know.
I'm sure he's doing okay. Then you're saying.
Yeah.
You're implying something there.
Nah, he's just like the girl.
Question number 5. Can you describe the treehouse perched outside of Oksana Grishina's apartment?
The treehouse?
Your treehouse specifically that you have outside of her window.
Why? Am I being a spoiler? I love Oksana.
We all do, I think.
Yeah. Oh my gosh! She, you know what's great about her is that, as great as she is, she has no clue how great she is. She's completely clueless.
Really?
She doesn't think she's that great. She doesn't think she's that special. That's when I tell her. I said,
she's got the most sex appeal probably of any woman that competes.
Oh, she's unbelievable, and she's just. You know what's great is that she's so pretty and so unaware of it. She's so nice. You know, she's nice to everyone. You know, she's always laughing. She's always goofing off like a little kid. She's always making faces.
She's got that
like,
dark side
I
too,
don't
though,
know.
with some of those freaky routines and stuff. I like that little.
But that's what it is, though. That's all an act. She makes herself to be. That's not her real personality.
No,
she's
for
an
sure.
actor. She's studying acting also, so she uses a lot of that in her routine and all that stuff, like her Batman routine or the Black Swan she just did, and she's doing again at the Olympia. She's so talented, that girl. But it's nice. It's refreshing to know that she doesn't let that go into her head. She never wants to stop working. And I told her, I said, "You're the closest person that I know to Jay, but on the female side. She's just like Jay's twin, but as a girl. So hard worker and just really doesn't take herself seriously. You know, she's just a girl. She's just, you know, someone who's happy to do her sport, and she's glad she can make money at it, and it's very nice, you know."
So you didn't plant any hidden cameras in her bedroom when you did her video?
No. I wish.
That's something Taylor would do.
No comment.
Boris, her husband, is so great too and stuff. And yeah, I mean, she's gotta know I like her a lot. You know, I mean, it's obvious, but it's just, but it's kind of like that too. I kind of wear my heart on my sleeve too. I mean, I'm really glad every time I see any of those people, if I like them, and that's something that I always try to do. When I shoot my people always sometimes ask me, when do you decide who you shoot? It's very simple. I shoot people that I like. If you see me never shoot certain people, that's because I don't like them. And since I'm in charge of doing my own stuff and nobody really tells me what to do, then, you know, I mean, otherwise I have no chemistry. And I like what I do for a simple fact that I'm able to make people feel comfortable and relate to me like the camera's not even on. So you get the most out of them because it's like you're just having a private conversation, but the camera's rolling, so people get to know the real person. I like that. You know?
Exactly. We would agree. Question number 6. You're on a deserted island. Name 3 items you want to have with you.
Okay. A phone.
There's no coverage. There's no cell service with the phone.
Oh, that's right. Never mind that then. Desert island. Yeah, aside from food, you mean, or just like other things?
I don't know. You could have food there, but it'll run out.
Yes, some probably fine food.
Shit. Dude, that's a tough one. Yeah, I guess. Shit. A raft? How about a raft? Yeah. I was get a raft. Try to get away, yeah. Get a raft, I guess something for shelter and water. I mean, hopefully there's coconuts over there.
So you're not bringing Kerry Cutler? I was hoping you'd bring Kerry Cutler.
No, I wouldn't. Yeah, it'd be nice to have a partner, but I'd probably end up just eating them.
No shit.
All right, we'll hit question number 7 up. This one is like a scenario. If you had to fly from LAX to Sydney, Australia in coach seating, and you're stuck in the middle seat, on your outsides are Dave Palumbo and Lonnie Teeper. Which one will cause you to take a fake nap first?
You know, I'm pretty tight with Lonnie, so I would probably say, I don't know Dave that much, but he's pretty interesting. I don't know, man. I think, I better say Dave. He gets pissed at me, it's no big deal, but I don't want to have Lonnie against me.
Question number 8. Who is the greatest athlete to come out of Canada?
Well, is it Ben Johnson or
Wayne Gretzky is the correct answer.
Huh?
Wayne Gretzky, come on.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You know, I'm not a big hockey fan.
Oh,
I don't
What?
actually,
You're Canadian and you're not you're French.
I'm not a hockey fan, dude. I don't watch sport. I don't watch baseball. I don't watch football. I don't watch basketball, hockey, nothing. It's really weird.
I don't either.
I only like bodybuilding. I like boxing and I like UFC, but you know, the other sports I could care less.
Hey, you should have said George St. Pierre. That would have been a good one.
Yeah, I like him a lot. That's right.
All right. Question number 9. This is a tough one now. Who is Canada's best bodybuilder in the last 15 years?
Okay.
We can help you out with some names too if you need it.
I'm trying to think recently. Recently, Fouad is really good. I don't know if he'd be the best, but
I think he pretty much is.
Yeah.
Probably.
I'm thinking you got some names we can rip off. You got Pekulski.
Pekulski.
You got Frank McGrath. You've got Paulo Alameda, Ron Partlow.
Claude Grew was really good back then. He won the Master Olympia a few times, remember?
He was, sure. Yep.
He was really good. He did the Olympia a few times.
Paul Dillette, if you go back that far.
Ooh, that would have been a good one.
Yeah.
Boom. Okay, I would pick one. I would pick him.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
He was he was like right up there with Cormier and Flex, and he was big.
If he knew how to pose, he might have won some shows.
He had no back, he had no rear double.
Well, he had no muscle control. That's probably why he couldn't train properly. If you watched him pose, you could tell he probably had no concept of mind-muscle connection back there.
Yeah. Such a
question number 10, but I got to ask the question first. Can you vote in the U.S. or no?
No, because I'm not a citizen.
Just no green card?
You have to become a citizen for that. Then I don't have any interest. I mean, I already have French citizenship and Canadian. I don't need a third one.
Gotcha.
I just want to be here, yeah.
If you could vote, however, would you vote for Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump if you had to choose between the two?
No, Trump. I love Trump.
Attaboy.
Great.
He's entertaining. That's for
and
sure.
you know what it is? He doesn't need money. It's kind of like Arnold becoming, governor of California. He doesn't do this for the money. It's like petty change for him. He doesn't give a shit. That's not his intention, So I kind of like the fact that they don't need the money or the power. They're powerful already. So I kind of like that.
Very cool. Hey, Dave, where do people reach you? Where do people see your videos for? I know we talked about Muscle Insider, but if people want to reach out to you on social media and whatnot, just
Facebook. Yeah, David. It's actually under David Pierre, which is my middle name, Pierre, Pierre, Bourlet, Bourlet. So that's my Facebook, and of course, MuscleInsider.com or YouTube Muscle Insider TV. That's where all my videos are.
Awesome. So, we really appreciate you coming on the show, Dave.
Thanks again. That wasn't so bad at all. You made me more worried when you contacted me before about your questions. That was great.
I try to put fear into the hearts of everybody. We appreciate it.
Thanks you guys.
Thanks, man.
Hey, when is the thing going to go on?
Wednesday.
Okay, so send me the link when you have it.
Absolutely.
100%.
All right, thanks, you guys.
Thanks, man.